believe that it's very important because the next 4 years will be crucial. We will need to address all of the crises that we face all together. And in order to do that, we will need to change, to make some fundamental changes, even the way that we do politics. I am not a career politician, but I am a woman who has made a living by getting people to agree on a common vision, and I have done so successfully. I usually undertake what I take with great gusto, and I usually succeed at it, and I try and I continue until I succeed. If elected, what I want to do is to go forward with solutions that benefit our environment and our economy, because both have to work hand in hand. We can no longer have one fight against the other one. It just doesn't work. I want to bring solutions that are good for people and for communities. Solutions that are good for farmers so that they can raise the food that we eat, and so that we can eat that food without being afraid of getting sick from it. I also want to bring forth solutions that will rebuild our forests while making sure that our watersheds are healthy and provide us with clean water and clean air. I want to build some renewable energy centers. We could do that, for example, at the Lavington plant, and where we could train people on solar, on geothermal, and on wind energy. And we could also manufacture the parts that we need. I want to put local business first. And I realize that education and dependable health care are not expenses, but investments that are necessary if we want to have a good society. I believe that all of us will tell you we want to do all great things tonight, but there is one thing that makes me different from other major parties, and that is that the Green Party does not accept large contributions from unions or from corporations in order to remain always independent and able to serve the people and the communities first. As your MLA, if elected, I will work to bring together solutions that will be good for us today and that will make sure that we leave a future that our children will be happy to live in and that will make us proud of the legacy that we've left. Thank you. I think that healthcare expenses, the way that it is done now, are true expenses because we are not doing anything to reduce healthcare expenses. And what the Green Party would do is we would make sure that we focus first of all on prevention, which is not being done, and we would make sure that we stop the privatization that is occurring and that is really threatening our public healthcare system. P3, private-public partnerships that are being done, such as at the Vernon Hospital, are directly threatening our public healthcare system. And this has been happening in BC, all through BC. And this is a very dangerous trend. So I think that in order to keep up with healthcare, and in order to make sure that people are treated well and on time, and in order to reduce the wait times that are occurring, we need to absolutely make sure that we focus on prevention, that we have a healthier population, that we reduce a lot of the causes of diseases, and we know what most of them are. 2 out of 5 Canadians contract cancer, and we have a very good idea of what does that now. 1 in 5 children has asthma. So again, I guess what I'd like to say to you is that the way to solve this is the way to solve most of the problems that we are facing. We need to address the environmental causes. We need to address...
Okay, thank you, Huguette. Got to cut you off there. Most school districts in the province are having to make drastic cuts. Some are even charging for busing. This is all due to the way the school districts are being funded. My question is, once you are elected, how would you go about changing the funding so that we're not cutting teachers or having to charge for busing?
Good question. You know, studies have shown that every dollar spent on education results in a $7 gain later on because it saves in remedial costs. What we would do is we would make sure that we immediately fund schools differently so that they are not funded on a per child that attends the school. We would also push for regional and small community schools, and we would make sure that all of the theaters and all of the laboratories and all of the facilities that are necessary for a school in a community are also available for the community. So the way that we would finance schools is by making sure that the school is well equipped, that the school is a community school, and that everything that the school benefits from also benefits the community. The other thing that we would do for the post-secondary schools is we would immediately reduce tuition fees by 20%. We would increase funding as well to improve the service levels, provide new equipment.
Thank you, Huguette. And you have 1 minute to respond, trying to keep things moving. Anybody else like to talk? Oh, sorry, Huguette, go ahead.
There's a lot of misunderstanding when we talk about a carbon tax, because what we're really talking about is a tax shift. At least that's what the Greens are talking about. We're talking about stopping or reducing the taxes that would pay on our income and that employers pay on employment, and instead to tax the things we don't want, which is pollution. And that way, it really makes sense, because anybody who makes the right choices has more money in their pockets at the end of the year. And what we mean by that is to simply follow what all of the experts have told us. Cap and trade is necessary, but it is slow. It cannot be implemented within at least 3 years to really have an effect. We don't have that time. We need to make a change immediately if we are going to address climate change. The 3% tax that has been put on by the Campbell government was a brave move in their part, but it was not sufficient to really make a difference, because at the same time they continued to subsidize the oil and gas companies. So the carbon tax is essential.
Thanks, Huguette. Thank you.
Right now we're getting 85% of our electricity in British Columbia from hydro. And what we think is that this is really dangerous, because with climate change, our river flows will change tremendously. So what we'd like to see instead is a diversity of power sources through solar, through geothermal, and through wind. So what we'd really, not garbage by the way, because we're aiming for zero waste, and we feel that to start producing electricity by relying on garbage is not a very good way to get to zero waste. So we would not use garbage, but we would use the other ones. And what we would also like to see is to create a new ministry that would be in charge of energy, environment, and climate change.